Hello, humans. This is Brandon with episode 47 of Not a Robot Podcast's DC Comics review show, the world's greatest podcast about the world's greatest heroes. They keep coming back, so I'll introduce them. As always, I've got my amazing co-host here with me, Rob.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice, the Super Friends.
At the Not a Robot headquarters.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. And Josh.
Hello, humans.
This week we'll be covering Static Season 1, Number 1, Flash 771, yes. Nightwing 81, Catwoman Number 32, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow Number 1, and the digital first series Infinite Frontier Secret Files Number 5.
Oh, what a week.
Before we get going,
Really?
I just want to say thank you to all of our Patreon supporters who help out with $1 or more a month. And thank you listeners too. Like, download, and share our episodes so we get more listeners and can bring you more content. You can get access to our Patreon and the rest of the Not a Robot Podcast shows at notarobotpodcast.com. But before we get into our issues for this week, what's new with you guys this week?
It's been a pretty boring week.
Yeah, it's been a little boring around here too. Yeah. My kids, they get to go a week out of the month to their bio dads in the summer, and that was weird because they're with us throughout the entire year, and then in the summer they go with him for like 1 week a month, and it's like a babysitter you didn't pay for and you don't really like. but anyway, other than that, not much new in my neck of the woods.
Have you guys either been, reading anything interesting or watching anything interesting?
I've been going through Guardians of the Galaxy over on Marvel side. Oh, yeah. God, that is such a fun book.
Yeah, big fan of that series.
Oh, my God.
All right, so much to Brandon's chagrin, I am actually rewatching the Titans series right now.
Yeah, not to my chagrin. If you're having a good time, by all means.
Oh, I love it so much. It's just such deep guilty pleasure.
Yeah, it just Josh and I were talking about it last week we were recording, and I just I think the show didn't really jive for me just because the tone that I normally associate with the Titans was a lot lighter than kind of the show, and so that kind of threw me off. But I would never take pleasure away from anyone else. If you can enjoy it, please, by all means. Lord knows there are lots of things that I like that people are like, really? Why? So.
What, you're saying you can't see Dick Grayson saying "fuck Batman"?
That's just crazy.
Not really, not entirely. I will say this though, from what I remember, because I don't think I made it past season 1, but I did really like the actor they got for Jason Todd. I felt like that was pretty on point.
Yeah, it's really good.
Season 2, it's set up. I was at the end of it, and if you ever have a chance to watch it, I'm not gonna ruin it. But at the end of it, soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh yes, they are gonna set up Red Hood." I wasn't sure how they were gonna do it, but I knew that of course, this entire thing is like a totally different alternate universe. So they get to play with things however they want. But man, I loved it. I know it's all dark and gritty and fuck Batman, but I like it. It's done good. I get that there's grit, but for me, I was sick of the bright and shiny and so tired of that Batman. And I know that the comics have been kind of grim for quite a while now, but that's just, as far as I'm concerned, that's home to that team, to those people.
Oh yeah, I think just like I said, for me, the way that I had associated the Titans was not quite I don't know, that dark, or I don't want to say not angsty, because certainly the Titans could be angsty, but I think they really just like kind of hammed it up at times, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't even.
I'll give you Rachel's character is a little dramatic.
Yeah, it was just, it was like all of that, and I was like, oh, I don't know. I was like, I'll stick with the comics. But anyway,
as far as reading anything goes, it's gonna be a while before I'm done with Invincible, man. So.
What about you, Rob?
On this week, honestly, the most interesting thing I've been paying attention to was E3.
Oh yeah. I didn't get to watch all of it. I actually felt kind of bad. I only got to watch like parts of that and the Nintendo Direct that they had, but
you're not missing much.
Yeah. Well, I managed to see the Breath of the Wild trailer, the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, which I thought was really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I didn't see much from E3 that like really jumped out at me, except for,
Metroid and Zelda.
Yeah. Well, I think I was just mainly watching for Halo, because I really want that to be good. But I don't know. What did you think, Rob?
Honestly, Microsoft had the best show this year for sure, and I think I read today they won the best performance or best show for the weekend.
Presentation.
And quite honestly, yeah, there was so many more exciting games in that, and so many more new titles that they showed off compared to like other developers that just kind of fell on the wayside.
Yeah, that happens all the time, though.
Yeah,
but we have a show on the Not a Robot podcast network called Gaming Geeks that's being recorded. It has yet to be distributed, but it is on its way. And the host of that one was telling me that the latest juicy bits of the rumor mill, and I don't know if he got this from E3 or not, because I did not watch the Microsoft portion of that. I watched very little. But he told me that Microsoft is going to be making the transition for Xboxes to make them televisions.
Huh.
I have not heard of that.
Completely making it an all-in-one box unit. You don't have to do anything other than buy one thing from Microsoft. They could make a fortune off of that.
Yeah.
So many things. You need a TV and a controller.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Xbox on the Nvidia Shield. I mean, people are going to go crazy for that. If that's true, Microsoft is going to make a fortune, man. Oh, man, that's probably why Microsoft and Sony were in those secret negotiations. I'll be damned.
Maybe.
Oh, shoot. Sony's finally playing well with others, I see. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I did see the trailer they put out for their new, I guess, like Xbox exclusive game, Starfield, and like,
oh yeah,
it looked kind of cool, but I still don't really know how I feel about Microsoft basically owning Bethesda at this point, because it feels like, it feels like it's basically just going to be their little factory where they churn out average games, and I'm like, that kind of sucks.
I mean, hasn't Bethesda already been doing that?
I mean, yeah, but like, I don't know, like, I like the Wolfenstein games, and
they do good. They do some good stuff.
Yeah, they have some cool stuff, and I'm just worried like that's gonna kind of go by the wayside, and they're really just gonna basically be Xbox's little game factory that just makes Xbox exclusive games for them, and I'm like, I hope not, but.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
It really does. I don't care about any of it. I'm a Nintendo dude, so
I mean, usually,
I'm the guy who.
Yeah, usually I'm mostly Nintendo, but
yeah. I'm the Nintendo dude who sits there and goes, if there were more than 5 games on the PlayStation, I would get it, but that's it.
Yeah.
It's always those like there's like between 3 to 5 exclusives with every generation that I'm like, oh man, I want that game, but like with Marvel's Spider-Man and Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, but I will say Marvel's the PS4 Spider-Man. Oh, it's such a great game.
Yeah,
I want it so badly, but apparently it's never getting ported to PC, so I'm not getting it.
Yeah, it is a shame. It really is, because that was just. That and I still actually haven't gotten to play it. I think I'll have to ask Kirk about it when we do the Marvel show, because I'm sure he's played it. But I still haven't played the Miles Morales game yet, and I was really looking forward to that one, but I don't know. I haven't really heard much about it.
From what I hear, it's amazing, but too short.
Yeah, it figures.
Yeah, that's how it would usually go, man.
Yeah.
Well, all right, we've been gabbing about video games for quite a while now. Is there anything else we want to talk about?
Well, the Eisner nominations for all comics this year, I guess last year really, have they haven't just been released, but they released a couple days ago, and you can go to the comiccon.com website and basically look up all the nominations and that sort of thing. And I won't go through all of them, but I will say
There's
that
some really good people there, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. I will say that some of I think our personal favorite writers are on that list. And even looking at the best writer list, some of the writers that we've talked about on this podcast, like James Tynion IV and Chip Zdarsky and Chef Lemire. And all of those guys are great, in addition to some others that are on the list that are definitely really great. So go check it out and have a look at some of the great nominations and maybe find something new.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of stuff on there, man. Every time the Eisner list comes out, you can go on there and find comics you've never heard of. Right before we started this podcast, we were talking about how there was a graphic anthology novel, on there that was called The Menopause, a comic stand. that you can find anything on that. If it's a good story, it'll be on the Eisner Awards. The only thing that I know for sure I don't agree with is that Strange Adventures should not be in the best limited run.
Yeah, I can see why it got nominated, but of those
because
books,
of the art.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some things that I kind of enjoy about the story, and they usually give Tom King his Eisner nominations every time he writes a book. But of the picks on that list, I mean, my personal favorite. I was just talking about it before we started recording, but my favorite would have to go to Decorum, which is the book by Jonathan Hickman and Mike Huddleston, and it is truly one of the best books that came out in 2020. It's visually amazing, story is really engaging, and it's open, and it's this epic sci-fi story. So personally, I hope that wins, but I think there are a lot of great picks on the list. I see the Far Sector is there too, and just a lot of really cool stuff. So like I said, definitely go and check it out. But speaking of anthology books, I wanted to give basically an honorable mention, in that I'm just going to mention it and not really talk about the story. But I wanted to give an honorable mention to Superman Red and Blue #5, which came out this week. And really, I just wanted to talk about one story, which is the story Prospect of Tomorrow by Francis Manapul. And I really just wanted to plug this story because if you haven't had a chance to read it, please go to your local comic shop or Comixology and pick up a copy of this book and read it just for this 8-page story. I swear, and I'm not overhyping this at all, it is one of the most beautiful looking Superman stories I have ever seen. The red and blue palette is unlike anything I've ever seen. And if you go to Francis Manapul's Instagram page, you can kind of see him walk through the process of how he actually colored and painted and shaded this short story. And it is like, seriously, it is just like, I mean, you're talking about Eisner's, and I honestly think the artwork on this is Eisner worthy. I mean, there's so many gorgeous blue and red panels here. It's just, it's incredible.
At Brandon's insistence, after he got it, I went out the following day, grabbed it up. Man, this is Manapul at the top of his game.
Oh, absolutely.
And, like, it looks so beautifully painted to me. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I think he blows Alex Ross out of the water.
Ooh.
Damn.
I hope Alex Ross doesn't listen to our podcast.
Yeah, I imagine he's got some pull everywhere, but I mean, Maniple, when you told me that it was amazing art, I did not expect to open it up to that inside of a gimmicky, anthology book. That shit is just gorgeous, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was blown away.
Yeah, for sure. Sure.
Oh wait, were you going to talk about the Flashpoint thing, or
say again?
Were we going to talk about the Flashpoint thing that Rob mentioned?
Well, no, I mean, I heard you, but yeah, okay.
Oh, I wasn't sure if you guys had any more news.
Right. Which
Rob, go ahead and talk about
I think you said there was like some news, or there was a teaser or something.
Oh, no, the costume. It was very, very minor.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I hadn't seen it myself.
I could mention.
I imagine it's pretty close to the shit we already saw.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we did get a teaser from, I believe it was from the director, that we got a teaser of the Flash costume for the upcoming Flashpoint movie, and it is wildly different from what we saw in Justice League. It actually looks like at least the logo is just like the comic, and it looks like an armor, but it definitely looks a lot better than what we had. I was outright not a fan of the Justice League Flash design.
Mm-hmm.
I did not understand all the strings and whatnot. It was just weird. But this one looks... It was just the logo on the chest we saw, but it's enough to get me excited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like... I don't know.
Crossed.
Maybe I'm in the minority, but I feel like they still haven't really perfected any Flash costumes yet. Even again, I haven't seen the CW Flash show since like 2015, but
none of them are what you want.
Yeah, well, every time I see like a post about it on social media or Reddit or something, it usually looks kind of weird. And then even the one in Justice League, I mean, it was just it kind of grew on me eventually, but even when I first saw it, I was like, it looks a little clunky. But
I'm a fan of the armored. Oh, get out of here! I like the armored look to it because granted, there's not a whole lot better science behind it, but the idea that he's running around in a Lycra suit and it's not burning up is just a little past unbelievable for me. It's a bit of a stretch. So, I mean, them changing it to like an armored look that might be able to resist all that heat and friction and everything, I mean, that works for me. I like the Justice League suit. I know a lot of people did, but I thought it looked cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any more news, guys, or anything else you want to share?
They released the title of the Aquaman sequel. I think it's Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. But it has not been a very news-heavy week.
No,
not at all.
Yeah. I think that's what's been missing from my week. That's why it's so dull.
Maybe. Didn't have much to get excited about.
Yeah.
This week's books, though, man.
Oh, yeah.
For the most part.
All right. Well, that sounds like a good enough segue. So let's get into our books for this week. So starting us off, Rob is going to take us through Static Season 1, Number 1. So take it away, man.
So happy for this one. So this one comes from writer Vita Ayala, with art from Chris Cross and Nicholas Draper-Ivy, and letters by And World Design.
Chris Cross is not the 90s hip-hop group.
But I keep thinking it is. So Virgil Hawkins is having trouble getting used to his new power, a constant buzzing in his head. This causes him to lash out against the people around him. He heads back to school for the first time since attacking Francis, aka Hotstreak. Someone else is taking credit for that attack, someone who also happens to be the most popular jock in school. Virgil is fine with this as it takes the attention off of him. That night at a family dinner, Virgil's family tries to help, but before they can get anywhere, Francis calls Virgil out of his house to settle their score. After a good fight with Francis getting taken down, he decides to retaliate by burning down the Hawkins family home. What a
Not a good idea.
good first issue.
Yeah, very exciting.
Oh my
debut.
god, this is really good. I'm so happy Virgil's back. I've said it before, I grew up watching the Static Shock cartoon. I was like a toddler when the comic came out, so I didn't get to read the original Static run, but the show had me hooked when I was a kid. I loved it, and I'm so happy Static is back. And
Yeah.
just a really, really minor thing. It's not, I call it a nitpick, but it's a good thing. And this is just something I was thinking about a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it funny that it was in this so recently for me thinking about it, but the fingernails are colored in. And most artists, if you look at the fingernails, just the same color as everything else. Same color as a hand. But fingernails are not the same color as your hand. They're distinctly different. And the artist, when they had the opportunity, they colored the fingernails in, and I loved it. It was just a little thing for me. I loved it.
I didn't notice
is,
that.
I just
That's
flipped.
awesome.
I just went through and flipped while he was saying that. Yeah, they definitely did. They did some really good shit
Yeah.
on it. That's cool. Attention to detail, man.
Mhm.
Really good art in this one.
It's frigging amazing. Hardcore amazing. And that's both the artist and the colorist.
Yeah.
So gorgeous.
I liked. I was more invested in the story than some parts of the art. For me, at least, it just. I think it had some really good close-up faces, but sometimes when the artist did some of the electrical effects, it looked a little, I don't know, like it looked like animation stills, but they hadn't been animated yet. It sounds like a really weird way to say it, but I don't know. Some parts of it could be a little hit or miss for me, but I thought the story for me was a really strong debut. And yeah.
The only part where I had a complaint about the art was where they were going through that little narration about, well, not narration, but kind of like side story there about the rumors about the Bang Babies and the kids that got powers and stuff. Some of the face detail I wasn't exactly cool with. I feel like they just went really, really simple with it.
Mm-hmm.
But the television shots and all of that was really cool. I love the art just about all the way through, except for basically that one page. I know that this is kind of reinventing the origin story a little bit, but it does bring it into the modern world, and it's done really well, like really well. This is aesthetic that I can get behind, man. So far, I'm super excited. I want more, and maybe it's because I've waited for this for so long, but I'm giving this a 9.5, yo.
Wow, very nice. How about you, Rob?
I gave this an 8.5. I am super excited about it. I probably haven't been waiting as long as you guys, but I am so stoked. So 8.5 for me.
Yeah, this was definitely a long time coming, and it's nice to see it's back and under good hands and a strong creative team. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where it goes next. And like I said, just my only gripe was parts of the art, and I think it is probably just me, but I think I probably took off some just because of the art and because it had this really great cover by this artist, Kari Randolph, who is doing a book called Excellence that I just started reading actually. That's really good. And so I think I'm biased because like I was looking at the cover and I was like, I wish you could have done some of the interiors. But like I said, art was solid in some places, not so much in others, but that was just a personal preference. But overall, I ended up giving this one an 8.5 too. So I was pretty satisfied with the debut. But
Man, I guess that was just fanboying Milestone, but
Yeah,
I loved it.
that's
dude.
great.
Like I
Yeah,
had
no, that's
one page where I had one nitpick, and other than that, I mean, this damn well could have got a 10.
yeah,
Seriously.
that's awesome, man. But next up, we'll be taking a look at Flash number 771. And I'll let Rob tell us all. No, I will let Josh tell us all about that one.
Did you guys hear that? He was about to give my book away.
I know. Sorry, Josh.
You're good, man. Okay, are y'all ready for this one? The talent is through the roof. It's quite the collection of, shall we say, super friends? This issue was written by Jeremy Adams. You guys were supposed to laugh. With art from...
We can put in a laugh track later.
There we go. Yeah. It has art from... It's written by Jeremy Adams with art from Kevin Maguire, Howard Porter, Meshke, yes. Brian Hitch, Max Rayner, Scott Collins, Tom Duranick, Fernando Passarin, Eau Claire Albert, and Brandon Peterson. The colors behind all of those guys is one dude, and that is the excellent Mike Attea. Letters are by Steve Wands, and the cover came from Peterson and Attea, and it's definitely worth a look. I enjoyed it, except for what it actually was. That's my first note here. You gave the cover to the worst moment in Flash history that we are all doing our best to forget.
Even though it does look good.
It's done so good, but I hate it. So I judged the book by its cover. I know that's wrong, but was I right? Let's find out. The issue starts off with the big surprise that we mentioned last week and went spoiled for you, and that is that the Flash has jumped into the body of Reverse Flash in the DC Super Friends cartoon universe, and he is currently at the Legion of Doom. Superman is laying on the floor with lightning either coming out of him or going in. At this point, I can't really tell, but it looks like it's coming out of him. Anyway, it appears that Reverse Flash is applying to be a member of the Legion of Doom, and taking down Superman looks as though it was his application. Barry, Mr. Terrific, and Green Arrow are trying to figure out where he is and how to get him back.
Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom.
It looks as though Reverse Wally has been voted in as a member. Luthor's not happy about it. He complains, and thanks to Wally's quick thinking, Luthor doesn't get what he wants. Turns out he's got Batman-style files on everyone in the Legion. Oh, and Superman isn't dead, of course. Luthor used a dampening ray to weaken Superman before, and that's how Wally will get the Speed Force energy sucked out of Superman before he explodes. He hits Superman with the ray again, and that does the trick. Luthor trips out on him about how the ship is about to explode because of the energy it just absorbed, and Wally replies as he's being pulled away from the Speed Force, and I love this part. You know what? Give me your best shot. I promise I won't even move. And then he leaves Reverse Flash's body right before Luthor lands his punch. Back to Barry and Ollie and Michael Holt as they deal with a phone call from Linda, Wally's wife, and that's terrifying. They're all scared to answer the phone, in fact. Linda demands that someone smarter than Mr. Terrific starts helping them to get Wally back. And Mr. Terrific's like, somebody smarter than me? The next few pages show Wally flipping through times in speedsters, 1832 in the Old West as Max Mercury, in the present day with Miguel from Dial H. He even does some time with the JSA. On the next page, after drinking some of Ollie's horrible coffee, they decide to shoot more energy into the Speed Force because they now believe that the Speed Force itself is causing this, because it's trying to expel something from inside. Now we jump 20 years into the future, and Wally lands inside his son Jai, and in front of his daughter Irie. It comes out that Wally told him stories of this very event, so she knows what's going on, but knows not to share too much with Wally. But she does say that he doesn't retire from being a hero, and that he taught his kids to use their powers for good instead of just trying to live a normal life. By the way, her costume looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And she is wearing it as she takes Flash into space. At least that's what it looks like. And she shows him this giant sun thing with a huge Flash symbol around it. She tells him he'll find out eventually what it is. Wally doesn't want to leave, but she says, see you in the future. And then he jumps again. This time, it looks as though he has jumped into himself and into the Heroes in Crisis storyline. He says no, as we see all over that there are dead, falling from the sky or something, heroes. And I can't really tell what's going on there, but they're not doing good. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
That's the wrap up for the issue. And in 2 weeks, we get the Flash annual. I hope that Wally skips through the Heroes in Crisis part because that shit just aggravates me to no end. But the story does wrap up in the annual, and I hope it's done right. It's been a pretty fun story so far, but after years of Flash stories, inundated with stories left incomplete, I just really hope that they land this, and in a good way. Is that the art was something I really enjoyed. My least favorite is probably the Porter stuff. There's just something about the way his art is done. And here, there was multiple outlines on the characters, like they're glowing a tiny bit, thick lines, sometimes cartoony, sometimes detailed. I hate to pick it apart that much because Porter can do good work, and it certainly seems as though he's been making a comeback as of late. Although, between the Superfriend stuff and the kind of ambiguous predictions from his kid, the story was a lot of fun. I gave this one an 8.25. What'd you guys think about it?
Yeah, just to start off with the cover, as much as I agree with everybody else that Heroes in Crisis was a big mess. And
Nightmare, mistake.
Despite the fact that it's a beautiful cover, I don't appreciate that they kind of just gave away the end of the issue on the cover. This cover probably would have been better suited for like the next issue or the annual, I think, because the last thing you see is he's in the Legion of Doom, and now you're seeing he's going to go back to Sanctuary. Don't give it away. That was the problem with the Batman v Superman trailer,
right?
Yeah, this one was so much fun. Oh my god, I'm actually as much as I'm excited to see where this goes and how this ends. I'm sad this story's going to be over soon because it's just been so much fun watching Wally just pop into different speedsters.
Yeah, it's kind of cool
fun.
Look back, and I even like the brief panels or brief like splash pages where Wally's just jumping from speedster to speedster. So he goes from Max Mercury to Bart Allen to Jesse. Actually, no, not Jesse Quick. Or it might be. I'm not sure.
No, it's Jesse as Liberty Bell.
Yeah, Jesse.
And that's why it's like, you feel weird.
Yeah, Jesse Quick, and then Barry Allen. It was just really cool. And I dug it a lot. I did have one question though. I'm assuming that this future that Wally ends up in with Ira and Jay is similar to but different from the Kingdom Come universe, because Ira is wearing the Kid Flash costume that she wears in the Kingdom series, but
looks so cool. I love that costume.
Yeah, but I figured it couldn't be, just because if I remember correctly, it was Wally's son that was different. I think it was like Wally Jr. or something. Like Jai wasn't a part of that timeline, so I'm assuming this is either like a slightly tweaked, updated timeline, or just maybe a slightly different one altogether. Not sure, but that was just a minor observation. But otherwise, I also had a lot of fun with this issue, and I'm even though I don't love that final moment, I'm definitely excited to see what happens next with Wally. Maybe how he'll address that situation, and maybe how he'll come out of it, stronger and more positive. So I gave this one an 8 out of 10.
That same reason is why I do love the final moment, because now they have a way to either do it right or undo everything that happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although I would question how much they could undo, just because Roy came back in death metal or maybe this is how he's actually back, because I guess technically he was a Black Lantern in death metal, and we still don't have the full answer as to how he came back as a normal human. So maybe this is it, maybe not, I don't know, but
yeah,
I guess we'll have to see.
It's gonna be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this one was a 9 out of 10 for me. I thought the art was great all over, and each artist fit their bit so well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
I will say that you're right. The art definitely did fit the panels.
Mm-hmm. I'm very curious, though, similar to what Brandon was saying, if we're ever going to see that future with Jay and Irie, I would love to see more Gold Beetle, because I'm pretty sure that's what they were hinting at.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'll take Gold Beetle any day.
Mm-hmm. All right, any final thoughts before we move on to the next issue?
Don't screw it up.
Yeah.
That's all.
Keep up this quality.
Yeah. All right, well, moving on to our next issue is Nightwing number 81, one that I'm always excited to talk about. And this issue was brought
There's
to us.
so much to talk about.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess it depends on how much we want to really spoil things. But before we get into it really deep, this issue was brought to us by Tom Taylor with art from Bruno Redondo, colors from Adriano Lucas, and letters from Wes Abbott. So while Sonia Zuko is sworn in as the new mayor of Bloodhaven and makes some promises to Blockbuster that she likely can't keep, Nightwing and the man called Heartless stand apart in a fierce deadlock. After facing off against each other and Dick momentarily gains the upper hand, Heartless shows his hand, which was leading the kids away from the camp and to the pier where he could blow up the pier and then drown them. But Dick manages to send an SOS to the local boats in Bloodhaven who are able to respond and get the kids from the pier safely as Nightwing eventually passes out from exhaustion and a head wound. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but all of the boats that were called, all of their call signs are references to old Nightwing riders, and I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It was a nice
Seeley, Leonardi, Jurgens, Constant, and Javier Fernandez.
Yeah,
although I think Fernandez is an artist, isn't he?
Yes, yeah. I guess the only, and Leonardi as well. But yeah, a couple missing, Kyle Higgins and Chuck Dixon and Marv Wolfman, but that's okay. There's only so many names you can fit, I guess. But anyway,
right. Wolfman and Perez get all kind of hat tips anyway.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was referring to the brief run that Wolfman did, like right after Infinite Crisis with Dan Jurgens and Jamal Igle.
When I hear Wolfman, my brain just clicks with Perez.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Obviously, New Teen Titans too. But anyway, yeah. So after Babs revives Dick at his apartment, she informs him that Bloodhaven has officially elected their new mayor, one Sonia Zuko, daughter of the man who killed Dick's parents, as we all know, and raised by the Maroni crime family, the ones who actually put out the hit on Dick's parents. Nightwing naturally wants to go after her, but Babs insists that he needs to rest as his head is still recovering from that incident that we won't ever speak of again. But Dick is too restless for that and sneaks out later that night anyway, arriving at Sonia's apartment only to be ambushed and knocked out by her bodyguard, Audrey. And after Dick regains consciousness, Sonia reveals that she has removed his mask and is aware of his identity as Dick Grayson, to which Dick is naturally furious. But she reveals something about her own history before Dick can spring to action, a surprise connection with the Grayson family that will be explored in the next issue. So I won't spoil it entirely unless you guys really want to spoil it, but suffice it to say that, as I said, Sonia Zuko has I would say a pretty deep connection to the Grayson family that is probably going to be pretty shattering for Dick depending on what story Sonia tells him. Obviously it's comics and we have to take it at face value right now because obviously it could be a deception. They've done this many, many times. They did it with Peter Parker a couple of years back. And then I guess they retconned it that he actually did have a sister. But like I said, I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop unless they really, hammer in that this new relation of Dick Grayson's is in fact genuine. But I have to say that I'm still not entirely sure how to feel about this reveal yet. I think I need more information before I can be fully satisfied with it. But aside from that, I really just enjoyed everything about this issue. I think Tom Taylor is still doing a great job at nailing everything about Nightwing and everything about his voice and everything. And again, I don't know if this is Taylor putting it in his scripts or just Bruno Redondo having fun. But there's like a lot of background gags that I love. Like Babs is, I'm sure you guys saw this too, but when Babs revives Dick Grayson, she's wearing a T-shirt that's like the Batman slapping Robin meme that I'm sure we've all seen, from like that old issue from the 50s, and it's just really great. And then
it really is.
Tim, well, this isn't really a background gag, but Tim is kind of like, oh, your dog Bitewing was really worried, and Dick's like, my dog's, that's a great name, but my dog is named Haley, and he's like, come on, you're talking to us, like anyone can have more than one name, and Babs is like, I have 3. So there's just a lot of great stuff in this, and
technically she's got 4.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to think.
Barbara,
I was
Batgirl, and Oracle.
Yeah, it was like, well, what else does she have? I could really only think of Batgirl and Oracle, but what were the other ones?
Babs and Barbara.
Oh yeah. I mean, I guess technically names. I guess I was thinking more literally like secret identities, but yeah. But yeah,
I'm assuming they weren't talking just superheroes.
Yeah. No, I probably read into that one too much. But other than that, like I said, I had a really great time. And like I said, I'm still processing the reveal. I hope that there is an interesting story. But in all honesty, I think I'm waiting for, something else. I hope it doesn't retcon too much, because frankly, that would just be kind of silly and would kind of take away from an otherwise really entertaining run so far. So I ended up giving this one an 8.5. How did you guys feel?
I don't think that it's gonna retcon it. I've got a bit of a prediction, but first let me say Redondo on that cover. Holy shit!
Yeah,
that cover should make you want to pick the book up.
And
then when you do that, you get blown away from the inside.
I'll do you one better, because Redondo is like single-handedly making me love him and hate him at the same time, because the book has thankfully been selling really well to the point where it's been getting second printings, and Redondo has gone out of his way to draw all new covers for the second printings, and I swear they are like just as gorgeous, if not better, than the original. So like I was taking a look at the issue 81 second printing cover, and I was like, fuck, like I really love this issue, but I don't want to double dip, but I like kind of want to because they look so good. And like I was thinking the same thing about the last one with like the evolution of the Nightwing costumes cover, and like I haven't double dipped, but I really fucking want to because the covers are just so great.
Right?
But anyway.
Anyway, the again, I thought the ships in the harbor, I thought that was pretty cool. You can answer me this. Andrew Constant, did he do anything else other than the Future State Nightwing? Am I just not remembering that?
No, it was just that.
Okay. All right. But still, I thought that was cool. Finally, we were told that the dog's name was going to be Bitewing forever ago. And finally, we get to see it written. I'm totally cool.
Love that.
All of the jokes throughout the whole damn thing are fantastic. And I laughed out loud when the 3 of them are sitting in their apartment and Dick said, and Tim said to Dick, come on, you're supposed to be more sensible than Bruce. that shit was hilarious, man. And whoa, that finale. I mean, talking about changing Dick's story.
Oh, yeah.
But it, like you said, it could be an elaborate ruse. And I mean, you mentioned that it centers around Sonya. She is running Bloodhaven with nothing but criminals. She was raised by criminals. So... DC Comics history kind of tells us that those who are raised by criminals, even if they are supposed to be good, tend to not. Tara comes to mind, jumping right off the tip of my tongue.
But if you think about it, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but no, just a quick point I wanted to make. If you think about it, in a way, if this relation does end up being true, Sonya and Dick are kind of like yin and yang, like they're kind of the opposites of one another, because you have Dick, who was raised by Bruce Wayne, who trained him in a proper way and raised him to be a good man, and then you have Sonya Zuko, who's kind of raised in the opposite way by basically the evil version of Bruce, Boss Maroni, who basically
I don't know if I mean, morally,
morally, not like
opposite.
it's not like his exact opposite, like Joker or something.
But man, I mean, have we said too much? Have we already given it away?
I don't think so. We just said surprise relationship.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm not gonna give away. He said surprise relationship will be there. Leave it there. But I want to make a prediction right now. Do you guys remember when I said a couple of months ago, right before Taylor took over, I believe it was, that Dick was going to be going over to a slightly darker path?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that? I remember saying that. If this relationship could be a huge turning point as far as that goes for Dick Grayson. Tom Taylor loves Nightwing. Tom Taylor loves animals. And Tom Taylor also likes killing people.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there's a better than average chance that if this history that they might share, that she might die by the end of this.
Oh no.
And that could be what sends Dick on the darker path.
Yeah. Or at the very least, I could see, because honestly that would feel kind of like a weird shift in tone, but I could definitely see her, dying, and then Dick is kind of, he really is pushed to take a more proactive role, because we've been kind of getting hints that he really wants to do something impactful with the money that Alfred gave him, and this might really push him over that edge to do something, and it may.
Right. And he's talking about wanting to do that, but at the same time, we're getting a lot of seeds dropped that he is not happy with anything else that's happening in Bloodhaven.
Yeah,
that he's pissed that the city doesn't take care of itself.
Yeah, so maybe, I don't want to say anything too early, but Dick could take a leaf from Oliver Queen's book and end up running for mayor.
He very well could. He could also go. He could turn into the vigilante.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen.
Well, not assuming the identity, but just
the idea
being like Deathstroke, essentially, but with Batman's mission. Kill or do whatever you have to do to get the crime off the street. I'm not guaranteeing anything here, but I said it before. Tim's on a great path. Jason is on the road to redemption. Even Damian is getting a little soft. Even if he's still on Mortal Kombat Island, he's there at a tiki bar. And for years, there has always been a Robin character depicted as dark.
Oh, I hope they don't do that with Dick Grayson.
Burned out by that possible relation, the possibility of that relationship not being there or ending, and his city being overrun by criminals, all while still dealing with the effects of his head, which I will amend. Most readers will say that this is the only loose thing that they can find in the story, because he fought as the cabbie. I refuse to call him that other name. But he fought against some pretty tough bad guys and came out fine, no concussion problems. But Blockbuster is a fool, and he's no great fighter. And Talon is a great fighter, but neither one of them are seriously supers. So, honestly, I gave 1/2 point off because it's under 30 pages, and I think we need around 600 an issue.
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
right. 9.5 out of 10 all day long.
Very cool. Well, Rob, we've been talking a lot. What did you think?
I've been having a hard time trying to decide what my favorite part is, because there's so many entertaining moments. But honestly, one of my favorites is when Dick is infiltrating I guess it's the mayor's office, and they just have that 4-panel spread of him using his Esprima sticks to just break into the window.
That's so cool.
That's so cool. I love little bits like that.
Yeah.
And screw Haley. It's Bitewing now.
Yeah, it's Bitewing.
Yeah.
I like that better.
Yeah. But I've never written so many notes before for a book besides this exact issue, and I had to stop myself or I would have filled like 3 pages. Like, my jaw dropped at that last page. I don't know about you guys, but I had to pick my jaw off the bus floor and like sanitize it.
A third of my notes are gone because we're not going to go into the relationship.
I felt bad. I felt bad because we gave the spoiler for the Justice League Dark backup, and it's really cool.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But like, I was like, oh crap! Like, if someone
that was more like a spoiler for a really cool Easter egg.
Yeah,
this is character defining.
Yeah, well,
so that's pretty. I can understand that.
Yeah,
we probably shouldn't ruin that. Go out and buy Nightwing.
Yes, please. Well, clearly people are, since it's selling out and getting these gorgeous second print covers.
Absolutely, it's second print covers. Damn it!
I know.
Man,
I don't have the money for this shit, guys.
I don't want to double down.
Stop it!
I don't want to double down on an issue I already bought, but it looks so good.
Tom Taylor, I'm like your biggest fan out there. You could do me a solid and send me some of this shit.
Yeah.
I'll buy the original copy, but if there's second print covers,
I'm just saying, like, have Bruno hook us up. Send the prints of the new covers that he draws. Send that to notarobotpodcast at gmail.com, and we'll love you for it. We'll love you even more.
Forever. It's an automatic extra point.
Definitely. 11 out of 10 every week. Now, readers, you go out and buy it. If you don't like this twist, and I don't know why you wouldn't, the comedy and the action are so on point in this issue, and Heartless is just a great villain.
He really is, and we didn't really talk about him that much, but Heartless is really cool because he feels like the polar opposite to the familiar Dick Grayson we know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he
almost feels like Dick Grayson's Joker.
That would be awesome. I'd be so down for that. Like, I loved Raptor during the Grayson run, but this is a much better antithesis.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah. I would not mind if Heartless stuck around for a long time. And the design
we'll have to see more about him, but so far it looks really, really good. Man.
I honestly, even if they like never unmask him, I'm down for that too.
Yeah,
he doesn't need an identity. He's just a badass guy.
Yeah, I need a little more before I can make any final assessments. But
no, I can tell you that Redondo draws that mirrored mask fucking wicked every single time it's on the page. I can tell you that the premise of the dude is pretty cool. He is very calm. He doesn't get upset. He's enhanced. He's got superpowers. He's not a trained fighter, but he's decent enough. And the way that he speaks, I don't know what it is about it, but it makes him very interesting.
Mm-hmm. And what does he want with all these hearts?
It's the mystery, I guess.
That's my biggest
trying
question.
to bring back Snow White's stepmother.
Honestly, no matter what happens with all these plot threads that have been put into this one issue, one thing's for sure, Dick is in for a hell of a time.
Yeah. At least it looks like it's going to be something we're going to want to read.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I'm definitely interested. Like I said, I don't know how I fully feel about that yet, but we'll have to see. I hope that it makes for an interesting story at least.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help but wonder at this point if DC forced Jurgens to continue on that whole Cabby storyline until they had something that they could bring him into, because I think that they had this plotted out for a while, what they were going to do with him, but there was like this 2-year gap where we're like, we don't know what to do with Dick. We've got Dick for Dick. So I think that very well could be what set up the whole horrible run of the Cabby.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Although I will say that the idea of multiple Nightwings is fucking cool, and I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool idea. It like I said, it had some shoddy execution.
Very much so.
Now the thing about that, and correct me if I'm wrong, when I was reading Nightwing, just before they got into that, they had this story with, and I can't remember the name of the villain now, like some tech hacker, tech terrorist, and he had kidnapped Vicky Vale and somebody else that Dick had met recently when he was opening his gym.
Mm-hmm.
and Dick was going to save them. And I think the last issue, he was in some like death race in Ireland, and he was saved by one of those characters that came out of Metal. I can't remember her name now.
Silencer,
yes, that's it. And it ended on a cliffhanger where they were still kidnapped, and he vowed to find them and save them and take down this guy. And then the next week, Dick got shot in the head in Batman, and the next issue of Nightwing was the cabbie. And we never got a resolution to that. And then 3 months later, Vicky Vale was reporting on something in some other book. They clearly just dropped that story halfway through.
Well, I think if I remember correctly, the death race was for like a wish. So my guess is he probably just ended up wishing that they were safe or something. And then they just, that was their kind of way of just like brushing it and saying, all right, we're done.
Oh, then I'm pissed because I've been
you've been waiting.
I've been waiting for so long.
Yeah, no, I've
gone back and reread it. So did I miss something? No. Okay, what the fuck?
Yeah, no. As I remember, they literally brushed it away with like a wish, and then like that whole plot with the like evil virus got shunted off to Batgirl and was resolved there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't reading Batgirl at the time.
Yeah.
Damn. I enjoyed that story.
Yeah. But anyway, any final thoughts on Nightwing, guys?
9.5 for me. Fucking fantastic.
Great.
Oh my god. I want more.
Easy. 9.5. This is a fantastic creative team on a fantastic character. Fantastic story.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah. Like I said, I ended up giving this one an 8.5 just because still gotta see where they're going with the big reveal, but otherwise a really, really great issue. But moving on, we'll be taking a look at Catwoman number 32, which Rob will tell us all about, and I think is also featuring a pretty strong creative team. So
very much.
Let's check it out.
So we got on writing duties is Ram V. Art by Evan Cagle. Colors from Jordi Belair, and letters by Tom Napolitano. So Leo has been taken by Father Valley, as you saw at the end of the last issue. Cops are swarming all over Alleytown, and all of these people want to know everything they can about Selina Kyle. And what is Selina doing about it? Hiding. Hiding and planning. Through some very good flashback stories, we see how each member of Selina's core team met her. Each story shows off a caring side of Selina, but also how ruthless and calculating she can be. Satisfied with the information Father Valley received, he stays true to his word and frees Leo, but then kills him directly after. And the last words Leo speaks is, Selina will save me. But we don't know where she is.
Yeah.
It's kind of heartbreaking, but this is a fun story. It was very interesting, and these flashback stories I thought were really cool to show off I know she's a human, she's not powered, but more of a human side to Selina Kyle.
Mm.
Just seeing her emotional range and just how she can care and be ruthless at the same time. It's really interesting to see. It's a side I don't think we've seen of Selina Kyle very often.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I cannot wait to see where this plan's going to go.
Fleshing her out.
Yeah. I know personally I was really excited for this particular issue just because Rom had kind of been talking about it in other interviews and stuff like that, because it was just for this one issue, I think, featuring the art of Evan Cagle, who did covers for a series called Strange Skies over Berlin and other artwork in other places. And they're gorgeous covers. It's just I'd never seen him do interiors, but I guess he does. And they looked really great here, and it kind of made me want to check out if he's done some interior work elsewhere. I think he might have done some digital only stuff on like a website or something, but I was a big fan of his covers for that series, so I was definitely interested to see how he's going to do this, and I felt like the artwork was handled really well.
It really is. It's gorgeous. Cagle is amazing paired with Belair. I mean, holy shit, her coloring is on point. Even better than that. With like when the lights are bright, the scenery, the glints of reflection in some of the eyes. I mean, it's not just her. Keiko is great. They work amazing together. But the story that Ron V has woven into the Catwoman character goes above and beyond anything I could have ever hoped for with Selena Kyle. I'm completely engrossed. I hope that whatever V has done here sticks around forever. I know he won't continue writing Catwoman until he dies, but I don't want this character development to ever go anywhere. I'm trying to think of a way that this could get any better, and I can't. It's her own world, but still taking place with the rest of Gotham. It's truly making Alleytown feel like a separate place altogether. The only thing that I can complain about in here is Father Valley's face in a couple of the panels. But Ron V, this is the shit, dude. 9.5 out of 10.
Wow. I gave this one an 8.25 out of 10, just because it's kind of like it's not really a filler issue, but it's clearly kind of a stopgap issue where it's like, all right, we're just going to slow down and kind of explore who is Catwoman, like the cover says. But, you know, it was a really, really strong look into who Catwoman is. So I think that's why it was definitely really interesting for me. How about you, Rob?
Do you guys think that they pushed Justice League back a week so that Ron V doesn't hog all the spotlight?
Maybe.
You have to give some spotlight to Tom Taylor.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this issue. This is an 8.5 for me. I can't wait to see where this goes. This whole Selena's got some master plan is really exciting.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well,
agreed.
Well, moving on to our next issue, an issue that I know for me personally was a bit of a strange creative team and creative choice when I initially saw the announcement, but I was certainly intrigued. And that is Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And I'll let Josh fill us in on the summary and tell us all about it.
Okay, here we go. Written by Tom King with some very enjoyable art and colors, both inside and on the cover from Bilquis Evely and Matías López, with lettering from Clayton Cowles. The book starts out and seems to stay in a very non-Supergirl kind of story. We initially meet Ruthie Mary Knoll, and we hear her story of how this man known as Krem of the Yellow Hills was taken in by their family for shelter one night, and in the morning after an argument, Krem kills Ruthie's father and leaves him for dead in a field next to their home. Ruthie finds her dad and removes the sword from her chest. It's a very fine, expensive sword, so she's confused as to why it was left behind, because it was very easy to remove. That isn't addressed again, and it feels like it was included for zero reason.
I think it's actually a clue, but I'll get into that later.
Oh, go ahead. Good. I look forward to hearing what you got to say. But she takes that sword and she tries to hire a mercenary that is currently drinking in a bar. He says he'll take the job, but he will not wait for the payment of the sword. He basically says, I'm taking this now, but trust me, I'll do it. And that is when things start to get really weird. I mean, sure, we're so many pages into a Supergirl book and we have yet to see her, but that's not the weird part. As the mercenary is leaving, a blonde woman that is completely drunk off her ass tells the merc that he is going to return the sword to the girl. He picks a fight with the woman, and of course, as you might have guessed, that turns out to be Supergirl. Now, she's celebrating her 21st birthday on a planet we've never seen before that has a red sun. I can understand the red sun thing because I would assume that it's the only way a Kryptonian could get drunk. That makes sense, so that tracks. But I can't say I ever imagined that Kara Zor-El would be depicted getting so wasted that she's vomiting multiple times the following morning.
Hey, everyone.
Red sun,
everyone only turns 21 once, I guess.
But here's the thing. Where did that come from? If Superman is old enough to have a son, even I know he's a grown man, but even if he should only be 15 right now, like we all know, Supergirl is older than Superman. So this makes no sense to me. Superman was a baby when Kara Zor-El was already an older teenager. There's no indication that this is a different timeline taking place in the past. There's nothing that tells us that at all. So there's a big point of contention that I've got. That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, Ruthie tries to hire Supergirl as a mercenary, and Kara is just like, look, sorry, I'm going home. I only came here to binge drink. And she leaves saying, best of luck, don't kill people, that's bad. She paddles off in a rowboat to get in. By the way, that's the actual dialogue. I'm not just summarizing there. She paddles off in a rowboat to get to her very odd-looking spaceship. Ruthie will have no part in letting Supergirl leave, and she follows her by swimming. Apparently, by swimming in waters with something that eats people when in a swarm, I guess, kind of like piranhas. But Supergirl has already started up the ship as Ruthie gets there. Ruthie is mesmerized by the spaceship as if she's never seen one before, but that doesn't really make much sense either, because if they've never been visited by space travelers, and there was no emergency calling for a Kryptonian, then what the fuck was Supergirl doing there to begin with? How'd she even know to go there when there are several places that they are already aware of that have a red sun? Again, so that Supergirl can go get shit-faced. As they are sitting there and Ruthie is getting a pep talk about justice from Kara, Supergirl is shot through the chest with an arrow fired by the very man that Ruthie was trying to get Supergirl to kill, Krem, who happens to be accompanied by the merc that Supergirl beat up earlier while drunk and without any powers at all. Now, she is a trained fighter, far more than Superman, so I can accept that. The merc's name is Bounty, by the way, so now I think that Tom King goes to the same character name workshop as Tynan. That was funny too, guys. You're sure. As Krem attempts to fire another arrow at Supergirl, Krypto runs out to attack him. He gets an arrow inside of him too, right in the neck as it's drawn. Of course, he's a dog. He had no clue that they were under a red sun. And after Krypto gets shot, Supergirl gets angry about swords and arrows. She takes a few more arrows to the chest while completely depowered. And she casually walks up to Krem and says, do you know who I am? Again, this is verbatim. Do you know who I am? I'm Supergirl. I don't give a fuck about swords and arrows. And then she grabs the sword being swung at her with her bare hands. She takes down Bounty. Ugh, that's such a stupid name. Sorry. And we see that Krem runs away after that. Supergirl goes to Krypto, or tries to attend to him, as he is whining very softly and pitifully. Krem boards Supergirl's spaceship, probably to seek shelter from Supergirl, which also makes no sense. An alien planet and a giant ship you've never seen the likes before? Surely those two things don't go together. Now, the last thing that Krem of the Yellow Hills, killer of men, women, and dogs, was about to escape Ruthie's vengeance. It says was. It says it right in the damn narration box, so we know he doesn't get away. Let me just say this, and I really mean this from the bottom of my heart and the center of my soul. Tom King, or anyone listening who knows Tom King, let him know this. It's bad enough that you decided to take a wonderful character and masterfully paint her in a contradiction of her character. But if you fucking killed Krypto... This section has been redacted due to content.
Whoa. Easy. All right.
Let's not commit a felony here.
Let's not go that far. Yeah, let's not go that far. Let's not go that far. This is a family friendly podcast.
The art is amazing. I loved it so much, but King and Bendis have become so unilaterally associated with screwing things up in DC, in my opinion. But they are consistently paired with some of the best artists that DC can offer. If you can introduce good stories and not pull them off, you will be rewarded with amazing art teams. That's what I see as far as business practice goes. It's dumb. The art is fantastic. Really, that's like amazing. Even the cover. I just don't like this portrayal of Supergirl, and the setting makes no sense. And this fucker might have just killed Krypto, who, by the way, is the only member of the Super family that I like more in parallel to the Bat family. Ace cannot compare to Krypto. This book, and I feel bad about saying this for Bilquis and Lopez, but you guys, and Clay Cowles, you guys deserve better than this. But the story is just not there, man. There's nothing to it. I feel like we're watching Supergirl's version of Strange Adventures. And, the art brought it up, man. 6.25 out of 10.
Wow. Yeah. I actually really liked this issue. I don't know. I had a lot of fun. I know the portrayal of Supergirl might have seemed a little off. I guess I wasn't thinking that much about it. One, because I don't really go out of my way to read a ton of Supergirl, and two, because I'm of a mind that if it can be interesting, to me at least, and this doesn't have to be unilateral, but to me at least, if the portrayal can be interesting in a way that makes me want to continue the story, I'm willing to give it a shot. And I think it at least had my attention with the introduction of the character Ruthia. So I was there already. And I don't think I was analyzing a lot of the intricate details as much as you might have been, just because, it's comics and there are a lot of leaps of logic that you can make. That's kind of one of the cool things about the medium. But
you're not wrong there, but if it's going to be a completely different portrayal, that should be set up in an Elseworlds kind of book or a Black Label. I don't think I've ever seen Supergirl drop as many F-bombs in the course of a year than I have in her just this issue.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't as, I don't know, as like, to put it bluntly, I don't know if I cared that much.
I get it. Yeah. I grew up when the whole Supergirl, Power Girl thing came up, so I had to. I wanted to know as much as I could about both of those people. And that's when I started knowing all this crap about Supergirl. Plus, my brother is a Superman freak. So, I got all that kind of knowledge from him too. So, maybe I'm being too picky.
No, that's hey, it's personal taste, my friend. But no, like I said, I honestly was going into this, I think, where you are now. Like, my expectations were not high, just because and even with Bilquis Evely, because I had kind of went in going like, okay, Tom King and Supergirl, that doesn't seem like a great idea. I just don't know if that'll really work, and I don't know what kind of story you would have to tell. And even with Bilquis, I was like, the artwork that I've seen her do is mostly fantasy. It's not sci-fi, so I was concerned that it just wouldn't really fit. It would look like sci-fi in space, or it would look like fantasy in space, which just sometimes can look a little wonky. But I think for me, I was pleasantly surprised with how much I kind of enjoyed it. And like you said,
fantastic, and there are tones and pieces of fantastic elements in there, like that giant beast that she's writing. That's straight out of something close to the Never-Ending Story,
But yeah, it just, I don't know. It's hard to say exactly, but I think I was interested, and I was kind of into it, and it just kind of worked for me, and I kind of really liked Kara's speech to Ruthia kind of towards the end of the issue, where Ruthia's really begging her to take the job, and Kara's just like, look, I have a job on Earth, and I have a code where I don't kill people, and I just, that's just not who I am. And I don't know, like I said, it was strange. I wasn't expecting it, but it worked a surprising amount for me, so I actually ended up giving this one an 8.5.
Question about that, Brandon. Did you ever read and enjoy Warlord or Sword of Amethyst?
I did read the Mike Grell Warlord. I really
I was getting major Warlord vibes from this whole story. I think maybe that's the connection there.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I will go a little bit deeper in my review, but my review can be summed up in a quote, a famous movie quote from a popular franchise. And remember this for award season. You were the chosen one! You were supposed to bring balance to the Superbooks, not tear them apart. This one feels a bit weird. I really enjoy the setting. I enjoy the story of with the planet and this alien world. All that stuff is great. And I'd really enjoy a story about Kara growing up in that time in her life, 21, going out drinking, being a young adult and just doing crazy shit. I think that'd be awesome. But the pacing here just feels so awkward. And those two story elements just don't seem to mix well for me.
It does seem like it goes through things a little fast. I mean, like she said, what was it? How did she put it? Let me see here. Oh yeah, best of luck and don't kill people. That doesn't exactly seem like the kind of, heartwarming, reaffirming pep talk that one would expect to come out of a member of the super family. That sounds maybe closer to
definitely
Damien.
This one was really awkward. I was really looking forward to it. I was excited about it, but maybe I was wrong, but I thought the solicitations were kind of billing it as a story of Supergirl going across the universe and saving alien worlds, and like Star Trek meets Supergirl or something. I don't know, but that's not what we're getting here. I love this world, and I think it'd be a very interesting world to explore, but maybe not with Supergirl.
I wouldn't even have a problem with exploring the world with Supergirl. I didn't have a problem with her going to the moon in Future State. But there's a lot of elements here that just don't add up as far as being true to the character goes. And honestly, in Strange Adventures, in Mr. Miracle, that's not a problem that he's got. He does remain true to every character that he writes. Of course, Adam Strange gets, a twist because of the plot. But other than that, it feels like he's giving Supergirl the Batman treatment here. And that's not something I'm happy with, man. Hopefully he'll do what he did in Batman and just respond to social media and make her stop cussing so much and maybe a little bit more compassionate.
I don't know. I guess I'm alone this week. I don't know. Like it just
she was even nicer when she was Lex Luthor's girlfriend.
Yeah.
I don't mind the swearing. I think that's her growing. It's a little out of character, a little weird, but I think it's cool. It's the rest of it's just weird, and this book is losing points for possibly killing Krypto in the first issue. Just don't do it.
Yeah, well, don't do it. I hope he doesn't.
Don't do it at all.
If he does, I may have to retroactively change my score. But I will say that.
Are you sure I can't poop in this line?
No, please, yeah. Let's not do any of that.
We'll put Kryptonian dog poop in a burning bag on his front porch.
But
you can find it.
This is 6.5.
What did you rate this issue? Fair enough. All right, well, on to our final issue for this week, and that is Infinite Frontier, Secret Files, number 5. This has a story which was brought to us by Joshua Williamson and Stephanie Phillips, with a script by Stephanie Phillips, art from Phil Hester, inks from Andy Parks, colors from Nick Filardi, and letters from Tom Napolitano. So according to Robert Louis Stevenson, man is not one whole but two halves, and according to Cameron Chase, former DEO agent, Director Bones is so much more than that. A complex figure who is neither good nor evil. Bones is someone that the post-death metal multiverse just might need, as Director Bones is investigating some of the mysteries around those affected. In this instance, he is grilling one Captain Boomerang about the powers he developed during death metal and whether the radiation is still within his system. Bones, of course, is skeptical that the radiation is completely gone and aims to prove that theory. After Bones locks Boomerang in a room with some strange gas, Boomerang begins to morph into a monstrous creature, forcing Bones to flee until he successfully contains and decontaminates the beastly Boomerang, at least for now. The tale ends with Agent Chase over the recording, wondering if Bones' own past in good, evil, and everything in between, as well as his past connections to the multiverse, will have any impact on Bones' further investigations into the current state of the multiverse. Yeah, not much to say. Just kind of a solid installment in this series. I like the art. I like the story. It's a cool Director Bones story. I guess the next one is focusing on Psycho Pirate, so I think that'll be pretty cool. Everything's just kind of done pretty well. So I just gave this one an 8 out of 10. I didn't really have a ton of thoughts of it. It was just mostly kind of a short, solid installment.
I can definitely agree with that. It's not much to say. It was interesting. I don't remember that thing happening to Boomerang though in Death Metal at all.
I had to double check, so I dug through because I have all my Death Metal stuff sleeved and packed away. And I guess it was in the Death Metal guidebook where he had like morphed into some kind of weird, freaky creature. It was actually the story that Chip Zdarsky did with Kari Randolph.
Take another look at that.
Yeah, that's where that happened, I guess.
Yeah, it's in the what did they call it? Death Metal DC's Guide to the Dark Multiverse or some shit like that.
Yeah, it was the Death Metal Guidebook. It was just called the Death Metal Guidebook.
Yeah, I thought this was it was a cool look into Bones' history for somebody that might not have read Infinity Inc. and all that stuff. You just get to see the history of this character. I mostly know him as director of the DEO and a brief stint as a supervillain. I didn't know all this other stuff about heroic acts and whatnot. I thought that was really cool to see, especially if he's going to have a huge role in Infinite Frontier coming forward. It's a nice little look into who this character is.
He's a great character to push into Infinite Frontier, but honestly, I don't think I have ever been more interested in Bones until this point in this issue. So show me the money, guys, because this could end really good. However, no offense to his legion of loyal fans out there, but I just can't enjoy Hester's artwork, man. It kind of makes me think. I know. Everybody I say that to says what, but it just okay. So I have a problem with traditional American tattoos, which is just basically thick lines and crude drawing. And when I look at Hester's work, that's all I see. And no offense to him either. I know loads of people like his style. I'm not going to drag the score down too much because of it, because for the style that he's trying to do, he does do it very well. And it's not hard to look at like John Romita Jr. or Charlie Rossman. You know, I do like the story. Well, I mean, I like the potential for the story. That's probably better said, but this book was good, and with all the secret files leading up to where they are into Infinite Frontier, for a 15-page book, this one was pretty damn decent for me. I gave it a 7.75.
Yeah, it was a 7.5 for me, and I'm looking forward to the next one because I love me some Psycho Pirate.
Yeah, it should be really great, but.
As long as Tom King's not right.
Now that that's done, let's break down our top 3 books for this week and a standout moment if you have one. So, Josh, do you want to get us started?
Sure. First, I just want to clarify that wasn't just a clear dig at Tom King. The last time I saw Psycho Pirate, I believe, was when Tom King was writing it. Anyway, before I get into my top 3, I'm going to reiterate what we said earlier. Go buy Superman Red and Blue. Trust Definitely. Me, trust Brandon, trust all of us. The shit is wonderful. But top 3. I had no clue how to do this. So I went back through the issues looking to be picky. That didn't really work. So what I did was I kind of compared each story to each other rather than trying to grade them individually. So this is where I ended up. I gave number 3 to Static. I have been waiting so long for this. The setup feels amazing, and it is amazing to look at. It's so nice. However, it is a setup issue. So regardless of how good it is, I do have to take that into consideration. And that is why that 9.5 got number 3. Number 2 is also a 9.5. I had 3 of them this week. That's going to go to Catwoman, which could easily be number 1. It's absolutely nearly perfect, and I do mean that. But the next issue was on par with that and had one hell of a cliffhanger. So number 1, also a 9.5, is going to Nightwing. Thank you, Bruno Redondo and Adriano Lucas, for making another beautiful book worthy of looking at just for the art. And also, thank you to my comic lord and savior, Tom Taylor, for bringing me another amazing story. And they only get better and better. Never leave DC, Tom Taylor. Never leave DC. My favorite moment, there were so many standout art moments in pretty much every issue. Even Supergirl that I didn't like. The art across the board, I loved all week. So instead of choosing one of those like I usually do, I'm going to go to use the apartment scene with Dick, Tim, and Babs talking. That whole scene, that whole moment, the dialogue was great. I laughed. All the little Easter eggs that were in it, that's going to be my favorite moment.
Very cool. Yeah, my top 3 books for this week are at number 3. I had a 2-way tie between Static Season number 1 and Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow number 1. Both kind of debut issues, both setting the tone for their new series. And I mean, I know I'm kind of alone on that one, but I thought both, even Supergirl, did a pretty solid job for me. At number 2, I had Nightwing number 81. This probably would have had the top spot, just except for that reveal, which I sound like a broken record, but I think I still need time to process it. Because, I mean, I even know my initial reaction, my eyes kind of went in the back of my head. It was like, oh, not the surprise, surprise relation again. Because, like, how many times have we seen that by this point? Green Arrow, Batman, Spider-Man. I pretty much just gave it away at this point, but if you could put the dots together. But anyway, other than that final reveal, which I still need time to process, the issue was really strong for me. But at number 1, I think really just a solid issue overall. And even though I said it was kind of not the filler issue, but it didn't really progress the story forward, but just comparing it with the others, I think was really the standout issue for this week, which was Catwoman number 32. Just doing
you know what the best way to describe that is, I would think, is a character study.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's it's definitely a good word for it. And it just did a really good job of doing that, even if, like I said, it didn't move the story forward a lot. But my favorite moment actually has to go to Superhero Woman of Tomorrow this week, which was the I guess splash page of Supergirl holding the 2 swords and kind of standing over the bounty hunter. And it's just a really gorgeously drawn panel. And I just love on the side well, I guess from her perspective it would be the left, but from our perspective it's the right. You have Crypto, and it's such a cute drawing of Crypto, and I don't know. That was just my favorite panel for this week. But Rob, what about you?
Can't take away
so
the art.
I had at number 3, I had Static Season 1 number 1. It's a fantastic first issue, and it just sets up so much great story to come. I'm already excited for Season 2, and Season 1 just only gotten started. Number 2, I had The Flash. Such a fun
Right.
story. I don't want it to end, but I can't wait to see the end. Keep this up. And number 1 has to go to Nightwing. I don't even know what to say now. Like I'm gonna say the best book in Infinite Frontier right now.
Well, if not for Swamp Thing,
Even
it would be
then,
very,
like
very
Swamp Thing's amazing, but
that's still my
Nightwing's got
favorite.
everything.
Swamp Thing still has my heart.
Yeah, I love the Nightwing book, man. Like, I really, really love the Nightwing book, but I have to, if I had to pick one over the other, I would have to go with Swamp Thing too, because
It's a gorgeous book.
Ugh.
I don't even know a word for it.
It's like
It's perfect.
It's honestly And I don't know if you guys are keeping up with it. I think, Rob, you might have mentioned that you were, but honestly, I think it's the closest thing DC has to
definitely.
Immortal Hulk right now.
Definitely.
I would say Immortal Hulk is the closest thing that Marvel has to Swamp Thing right now.
Well, I would say that, but it's just that Immortal Hulk's been going for longer. But
oh yeah, I know. I'm only saying that because I'm a DC fan.
So best moments for me, I would pick something from Nightwing, but I could not pick one, so I'd have to pick the whole book. But that's kind of cheating. So I'm going for Wally's speed slapping Lex Luthor. I'm pretty sure I actually laughed out loud at that moment.
Oh, shit, that was great.
That was a good moment. Really well done.
Oh man, I completely forgot about that. That is an excellent favorite moment.
Yeah.
And then he just does what he says.
All right, that was fun, but this is even more fun. It's time for
the biggest thinker.
Oh, that's nasty.
So, which title made your stink list today, guys? I'm pretty sure I have a strong idea of what it is, and I think I'm the only one that doesn't have it.
Yeah. Supergirl, man. I was really excited for this. I must have forgotten who was writing it. The voice, the character, the plot devices, the damn names used. Other than the other than the art being nice to look at, I wasn't looking at her, but I promise. There really was nothing appealing about this book, not to me. If the art wasn't as good as it was, this isn't just Tom King hate. This is what I felt about the story. I would have given it a 4. Like it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat with Supergirl. I'll admit, I don't think I realized that Tom King was writing it before I picked it up. And when I saw the name, I was like, oh, okay. And I kept an open mind, but yeah, just it didn't hit with me. So Supergirl's on my biggest stinker this week. I'm still holding out hope. I'm still going to be an open mind for the remaining issues. We'll see how it goes. As long as Crypto's alive, maybe you'll actually make it. Not on the biggest stinker, but not the top 3 either.
If Crypto survives, I'll give him a chance.
Yeah, I hope so too. But the funny thing is even if he survives to the next issue, there's no guarantee he'll make it to the end of the series. So I guess we'll still have to keep our fingers crossed. But
I thought Taylor messed with my emotions in Deceased. This is messed up.
Yeah, not Crypto.
When are we?
I mean, fuck. You could have taken Ace. I'm a Bat Stan, and I would have been completely fine.
Ace.
Not the cow.
No,
but you could take Ace over
Ace.
Crypto any day.
Don't. Okay, how about we don't take any of the pets?
I like that idea.
Let's not take
That's
any
a
of
great
the
idea.
pets. Let's just
I would prefer that.
Yeah.
Like if I had to pick one.
Okay.
No, can't do Becca.
And that's the show. We hope you had fun. We definitely did. Come back next week for a monumental week of DC Comics talk when we'll be reviewing Detective Comics 1038, Action Comics 1032, Superman number 32, Robin number 3, Infinite Frontier number 1, Justice League 63, Joker Puzzle Box number 2, Batman Reptilian number 1, Wonder Woman 774, Batman Superman 19, Harley Quinn number 4, Checkmate number 1, Teen Titans Academy number 4, and Mr. Miracle, The Source of Freedom number 2.
Try doing that all in one breath.
Jesus. Oh my God. I'm like almost out of breath just reading that.
I can believe.
We'll be here talking comics probably for a while, and we hope you'll stop by. Remember to go to notarobotpodcast.com for all of our episodes and our other shows with all sorts of people. With that, there's only one way that we say goodbye around here. Until next time.
Be good to each other.
And don't be a robot.
Mm.